drivers, start your engine! Entering its 7th season, the Lapped Traffic Podcast has brought you over 300 shows, driver and media interviews, awesome stories and entertainment, and one of the coolest fantasy leagues around. Get ready for another exciting season. Sit back, relax, and try not to get lapped. Now, here's your host, the Professor, Brendan Crown.
Oh, what is up, Lap Traffic Nation? Welcome to episode 325 of the Lap Traffic Podcast. Yes, I am your host, the Professor, Brendan Crown. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Hope you enjoyed championship weekend. Can you believe another NASCAR season is in the books, along with another season of the Lap Traffic Podcast will be wrapping up here soon. This ain't the last one. I promise that much, at least. Let's see. This weekend, man, I ain't going to lie, recorded the truck race because 10 o'clock Eastern starts with a 20-month-old would have meant sacrificing some very precious sleep time. So pretty much stayed in the bubble Friday night and was not on Twitter or anything like that, and caught up on that Saturday morning. Had the Michigan game, Xfinity race Saturday night, bounced back and forth there. And Sunday, I did miss the first stage due to having a family birthday party to attend to, but we're very glad to catch the second half of that thing live. And man, so emotional about Kevin Harvick. I must have started 3 or 4 times throughout the day to make, some posts, just some thought memory to share. And I could not find the words that I wanted to put out there. And I know, obviously knew he isn't going to see it or anything like that. Mainly just, to share personal thoughts for you guys. And, I'm going to read the tweet just for you guys that didn't see it, just because, again, as you guys know, before the podcast, there was a diehard Kevin Harvick fan here. So this is what I had put out. I've been thinking all day about what to say. 20 years as a fan of Kevin Harvick and sports in general. There are fans, and then there are fans. People that truly get lost in the passion. The casual sports fans may not understand the pure excitement, the pure pain that us diehards do. And before the podcast, there was just a diehard Kevin Harvick fan. And to the Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Tony Stewart, and countless other greats of our sport, we Kevin Harvick fans are now in your camp, as we can never replace our first driver. We might root for others, we might get excited, but you can never replace your first driver fandom in NASCAR. This year, I had the greatest honor I could possibly have, and that was a private interview with Kevin. And if it weren't for the followers and the listeners, that would have never happened. I can't thank you all enough for that. Can't wait to talk about it on this week's show. Here we are. Cheers to the end of an era, #forever. Lindsay had me read that to her before I sent it, and I typed it fine. But when I read it to her, I legit had some tears rolling down my face, which just proves the terms of diehard fandom. I'm sure a lot of you may get asked, how can you care so much about some team that doesn't care about you in general, really? And that's the magic of it, that you can let yourself get that lost into that team or that person, that driver, and either rooting for them or against somebody. It will definitely hit you hard emotionally on the ups and the downs of that driver and that team across any sport. And for those that are listening to this amateur podcast, I know the bulk majority of you are diehards, so I know you can all relate to that. So here is to a fantastic Kevin Harvick career, a first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt about that. And to the number 4, here's 4 revs for Kevin Harvick. All right. So, about the show, let's see here. So there's definitely going to be at least one more show, maybe 2, just depending on guests. And if you guys are interested in doing a couple listener call-in shows. So if you would like to come on 10, 15 minutes with me, reach out, shoot me an email, DM, good chunk of you have my cell phone number. Feel free, reach out, let me know, and we can get something scheduled over the next week or two. We can talk anything you want, driver specific, teams, moves, schedule changes, anything. All open forum, whatever you guys want to talk about, just let me know and we'll get that scheduled. So tonight, very excited to have our Craftsman Truck Series champion, Ben Rhodes, along with the legendary voice of MRN Radio, Jeff Striegle, to break things down for us, as we know he does so well. We'll have our Lapped Traffic Fantasy winner on. So spoiler alert, it wasn't me, even though I'm damn proud to have finally made it to the Final Four in my own fantasy league. So we'll have that at the end of the show. I got some of your takes as well. So let's kick things off with our Truck Series champ, Ben Rhodes. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line, making his 6th appearance on the show. He is the driver of the number 99 with ThorSport Racing and your 2023 NASCAR Truck Series champion. Welcome back to the Lap Traffic Podcast. Ben Rhodes, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey, guys. Yeah, thanks for having me. Just happy, as you could probably guess.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. I mean, what a season. The truck season for me is always special just because it's shorter, right? So I'm the type like, man, I'm wanting more, which is what the Truck Series, delivers, which is awesome. In general, obviously the championship, we'll get to that. But prior to this past weekend, Phoenix, how would you sum up the 2023 season for you guys?
Oh, man, I would say 2023 was a year of adversity. I mean, that never fails, right? That's the storyline for everybody all year round. But I'll give you a snippet of what mine looked like. For ThorSport Racing as a whole, we came out with Ford Performance this year, which obviously now looking back at it is a great thing. Win the championship, won some races, but that doesn't come without challenges. We obviously thought it was the best thing for us to do. And that's why we made the switch, but it comes with work. We have to, rebuild all the trucks, new bodies, new engineering, new sim, new wind tunnel time. So there's a lot that goes into that. And we spend the year building and developing the program rather than just building upon what's already there. So there's some challenges with that. I also had 3 crew chiefs this year, which is got to be some sort of record. So there's challenges with that too. And, you don't really ultimately get fully settled in one way or the other. But through all of that, we were able to really turn up the wick when it mattered, which I'm most proud of for this team. We were able to get a 7th, a 2nd, and a 2nd going into the Championship 4 race. And then I would argue that we were probably the 2nd fastest truck in the Championship 4 race of the Championship 4. So 2nd fastest of the champion drivers, right behind Corey Heim, which they've been lights out all year.
Sure.
So, that I think kind of is a good snapshot of our season. It's not been without challenges, but again, everybody says that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, you expected it. It is hard to be perfect every week in, week out. Like you said, that's just the normal challenges of racing. Throw in the changes that like you mentioned, we're going through, and it's just a whole nother layer, and just even more shows the testament and the immense dedication from you, the team, the crew, all of that, to be able to still go out there and win a championship is really incredible. All right, let's talk about this past weekend. And what a race. I mean, 4 overtime restarts. The blood pressure just had to keep rising with each one of them. Walk us through, the end of that race there.
So I need to go back and watch the whole race to get my thoughts organized and to make sure I'm kind of correct on speaking on things. But the race as a whole started off kind of crazy. When there was a caution with 10 laps into the race, I said, okay, it's going to be one of these. Yeah, exactly. It's going to be one of these. That already kind of set the tone, because in the past, Phoenix had cautions at the end, but there was also some Phoenix races where it was long green runs, right? When I got my first championship in 21, that's what it was. Zane Smith and Todd Gillen that year had passed me. And then here I come back on a long run. We pass them both back and get the championship. So there's been both sides of this now. But that set the tone for the day, that first caution. We have such short stages in the truck series, that after the first 50 laps, we're running third, right behind Corey Heim and Ty Majeski. And then everything starts flipping. The stages bring these cautions. It's a short next run. The next stint is really short. People are flipping. Hocevar gets up front on tire strategy. We find that Corey Heim, myself, and Grant Enfinger ultimately end up in the back together. And as we're cutting through the field, people are just driving crazy. There's no slack given at all. If anything, they're racing us harder, except for maybe a couple of trucks. And at that point, I honestly, we were racing so hard, I let one of them go. I can't remember if it was Corey or Grant. And sure enough, 5 laps later, there's Corey and Carson in a wreck. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to say I saw that coming, but, myself and the crew both said over the radio, hey, let's be really smart here because we've got way more to lose than we can gain. And you got to make it to the end to win these things. And no fault of Corey's own on that deal, but it's just part of racing at this point.
Yeah, no, for sure. You could definitely tell, I think, between you and Grant, obviously the veterans, not just in the playoff field, but in the truck series in general, that poise, if you will, showed with where you two both finished in the race, and the respect that you guys gave each other on the track, I feel like, versus, Corey, Carson, a little younger, like you said, there's a lot more to lose early in a race. You got to be there at the end.
100%. And I've been on that other side, and I made all of those things. I made all those mistakes as a younger guy, but I'm 26 now. I've been doing this full time since 2016, and we've kind of learned some lessons along the way. And I would give our team props on that's probably, even when we don't have the best trucks, when we don't have the best speed, I'd say what we do the best is execution on big picture stuff. So, how to get the stage points versus the end of the race for the finish, and really just looking at that through the whole season, we find a way. Typically, we just grind it out and we find a way to get there.
Yeah, no, for sure. Ben, I saw this on jski.com that you are only the 5th repeat champ, and then I go back and I look at the names of Matt Crafton, Ron Hornaday, Todd Bodine, Jack Sprague, and now you. That's the Mount Rushmore of names that are synonymous with the truck series. So how do you feel like to be included in those lists of truck series legends?
Man, it's really unbelievable. To tell you the truth, I'm emotionally not connecting with that at all.
Right? Too new.
I really don't put myself with those guys. Just emotionally, I don't consider it. I'm still pretty young, and they're kind of like you said, they're the Mount Rushmore. They're these legends of the sport. So I don't know how to connect with that. But I'll tell you this. I'm super humble, super proud to be part of it. I'm super grateful to have the opportunity because, at the end of the day, I'm getting to race trucks, and whether we're winning or not, just to be here is an honor. So the fact that we have 2 championships, it still hasn't sunk in, really, and It probably won't until the banquet. So give me another month or two, and I'll get back to you.
For sure.
Yeah.
Ben, looking ahead to 2024, the truck series really didn't have a whole lot of big swings as far as changes in the schedule. Richmond will be the regular season finale. The Milwaukee Mile is coming back, and Kansas gets shifted around a little bit from a playoff perspective. Anything you would have liked to have seen change? What would have been on, Ben Rhodes's, oh man, I wish we could have done this kind of thing for 2024?
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that we don't have a dirt race and we only have one road course. That's kind of been something that the truck series was known for the past several years, is the diversity of our schedule. We were the first ones to do dirt. We also had quite a bit of road courses on there compared to the amount of races that we have.
Yeah.
So I would have loved to have seen us go back to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park or go to Mid-Ohio. And as you could know, they just got new pavement.
Yep.
It was just repaved, so it would be primed and ready for us. So yeah, I would like to see some of that, even though I'm not a dirt guy. I do think that, I do think it's good racing, and ThorSport as a whole has a really good track record there.
Sure, absolutely. Ben, what any fun plans scheduled in the off season? Is the trophy coming to Thanksgiving dinner? Is the centerpiece? What's coming on in the off season here for you?
Yeah, so that's funny. So
I want to see that picture tweeted out now.
yeah. I'll let you know about that. But I can say I'm transporting the old trophy, and the new one is supposed to go up to Sandusky, Ohio. We're going to have a big open house celebrating all the championships. We're really, really looking forward to that. I think the day that they're going to announce is going to be December 13th.
Okay, cool.
So anybody that can travel or is in that Ohio area that wants to go to Sandusky, that would be the time to come see the race shop. I'll be there. We'll have all kinds of souvenirs, and obviously you can take a tour of the entire place, see all the race trucks, and it's not just going to be us. There's plans in the work for other competitors from other series being there too, which is pretty cool.
Awesome. I might have to reach out to Len because Metro Detroit, I'm not too far from there. Maybe we could line something up from a podcast perspective down there for something.
Absolutely,
like
they'd love it. You have a live audience, that's for sure.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Well, done deal. We'll reach out to Len for sure. Well, listen, Ben, thank you so much for taking some time to call back into the show. It's always a blast to have you on. Congratulations again on a second championship, and hope you get to relax, enjoy, and take some well-deserved time off in the off season, man.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Have a great holiday season, and who knows, maybe we'll see you here in December.
Yeah, I hope so. I'll see you soon then.
Awesome, man. Take care. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, Lap Traffic Nation, there you have Ben Rhodes. I love talking to Ben. I've done a couple in-person interviews with him up at MIS back when the trucks would race there, and just a great guy. I mean, he's just got a great, fun personality. As you can tell, in some of his post-race interviews, he's having a good time, and I love everything about that. Great guy, great competitor, great champion, which is awesome. Can't wait to see him go out there and defend things next year in our 2024 season. Okay, let's just keep rolling right along. Let's not waste any time. Let's get Mr. Jeff Striegle on the line. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line, making his 29th appearance on the show. He needs no introduction. Our great friend from MRN Radio and Berlin Raceway. Welcome back to the show, the one and only Mr. Jeff Striegle. Sir, what's up, man? How are you?
I am doing well. I'm recovering from championship weekend, but I'm doing good. How are you?
Excellent. I'm good, man. I am good. How was that red eye, man?
Don't ask me about that. Red eyes are bad.
Yes.
Red eyes are bad. I still to this day do not know why I elect to do a red eye rather than just coming home on Monday, but I was home yesterday.
There you
go. I wasn't really with it at all. That's for sure.
Fair enough. Important question. When do you leave for the annual Key West trip?
How about a week from Wednesday?
Excellent.
So a week from tomorrow.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Good deal. Good deal.
We are ready to go. I'm not packed yet. I believe my wife Julie is packed and ready to go, but I have yet to actually unpack from Phoenix. So
right.
I can't say I'm ready.
Excellent. Well, no, I know you'll have a great time down there. That's for sure. Jeff, man, another season is in the books, and we synchronize. I think when we get together, we've got some repetition, and I can't believe we're here to talk about another season in the books.
It seems like we were just talking about Daytona.
Yeah.
And then we were talking about Michigan, and now here we are talking about the season is over, and we'll be previewing 2024 before long.
Absolutely. You know it. Jeff, how would you describe championship weekend this year? In terms of, we had some new drivers in the mix across all three series. There were some big names across all three series that weren't racing for championships. So, how would you describe the weekend overall?
That's an interesting question. I don't know if you can sum it up in a word or a sentence that would recap what Phoenix was. I think you can put drama in there, exciting, electric, mind-boggling from time to time, disappointment, certainly with some of the things that we saw on track. But, I will say this, as much as I love Homestead being the championship weekend, I said it before, I'll say it again, that Phoenix has done a great job embracing the opportunity to host NASCAR's season finale. And the fans are there. They support it. The campground out back behind the racetrack is just packed. When we arrived there on Wednesday, we went down for media day, and we went over to the track. And to see the amount of people that were there already was shocking. I loved it. I mean, obviously, you want to go to a place and see that the people are there, they're ready, they're anxious for it all. And Phoenix delivers. The track is spectacular. The setting is spectacular. The weather, you can't beat it anywhere on
absolutely.
The planet. So, the setting and the fan base and the track, that all delivered. What we saw on the racetrack delivered. It gave us drama, excitement, like I used those words already. But, I leave there thinking, you know what? NASCAR is in a pretty good spot right now.
Yes. No, I couldn't agree with you more there. You mentioned the on-track stuff. Let's kick it off with the Truck Series. Couple things to unpack. We've got Ben Rhodes, a two-time champ now, and only the fifth person in Truck Series history to actually earn a second truck championship, which is awesome. I mean, Ben Rhodes could very well be, our next Matt Crafton, just that lifer that, and he's going to help carry the torch of the Truck Series, which I think is great. We had the on-track incidences between Corey Heim, the favorite going into the weekend, and Carson Hocevar, and Grant Enfinger, trying to go out one last time with GMS shutting down and was just one spot away. So what are some takeaways for you from the Truck Series?
Well, I mean, I think when we look back at the actual championship race, I would call it very disappointing. I thought the way that the drivers approached it, the lack of respect on the racetrack from top to bottom.
Sure. The
fact that we ran 4 overtime finishes because we couldn't figure out a way to go green, white checker without destroying the field. Obviously, that was a black eye. We don't need to be racing like that. I don't care if we're talking the short track level, on a Friday night or a Saturday night, or if we're talking about, NASCAR at one of their top 3 divisions. I just felt like what we saw there was a disappointment, and it didn't need to happen. Obviously, there were events that occurred that involved our championship 4, and then there were some events that occurred there with drivers just trying to race for a win. I mean, if you go back and you look at, I guess what everybody is talking about, and that is Corey and Carson, I felt like Carson made, a monumental mistake. They did what they needed to do by changing up the strategy and putting Carson in a position to be at the front of the field. I liked that move. We all saw Corey run down Carson to pass him to put him in a championship winning position. And I felt like right there, Carson needs to just let him go.
Sure.
He had put himself in a position where now the next time they come to pit road, he is at the front of the field where he had not been able to drive to. So, at that particular point, if I'm an owner, crew chief, or a spotter, I'm telling Carson, Corey is running you down. He's got a faster truck. That was no debate. Just let him go. And we are going to live to fight this out with one more opportunity to come to pit road to make a truck change. And, at that point, you're going to have a chance to race them head to head. So when Corey got by him, the fact that Carson was going to stalk him that hard got into him, I think, going into turn number 3, then, took to the apron and the flat down in turns 1 and 2. Corey was a lane up off the bottom of the racetrack. Carson comes up. Did he dump him on purpose? Of course not. But, I just didn't feel like Carson should be in that situation at that particular point where you're racing him that hard, running the flat. Truck has nowhere to go. And up the racetrack he goes and he wipes out, the fastest truck on the track. Obviously, what Corey then did in retaliation was just, that was not the right move by any stretch. Corey took himself out of a chance to win the championship by doing it.
Yep.
You can't predict how the race was going to go, but obviously if we get another caution flag, we got several, but they were precipitated by the Corey Carson deal. If they get a late caution flag, Corey is right back in that thing and probably is the truck fast enough to be able to go to the front of the field and win the championship, but he took himself out of that.
Yeah.
So,
and he didn't have to win it. It wasn't one of those where it was shaping up to where you were going to have to win the race,
Correct.
So like you said, if he would have, just kept it clean and who knows what the, we can what if it till we're blue in the face, but there
Right.
could have been the potential there for him.
Yeah. I mean, 2 wrongs there certainly don't make a right. 2 wrongs just made it really embarrassing to watch 2 of our 4 championship battle it out the way that they did. Obviously, that left the door open as we wrap it up. That left the door open for Grant Enfinger and Ben Rhodes to settle it among themselves. I give all the credit in the world to Grant Enfinger because he could have moved Ben out of the way. At that particular point, Grant Enfinger's got a faster truck than what Ben does. Ben just happened to be in position. Grant ran him down in those green-white checker overtime finishes, got to the rear tailgate of Ben, could have moved him, elected not to. He raced with class, and unfortunately there he raced with class and he finished runner-up, but I think he deserves all the credit in the world because based on everything that was going on around him and what led to it, you would have never batted an eye if he would have just flat drove it in there and either moved him or wrecked him and went on to win a championship. But Grant raced him fair, and Ben Rhodes was out front when it mattered when the checkered flag came out. And Ben Rhodes, like you said, wins for the second time. And, that right there led to what was going to be a very, very big week for Ford. They claimed their first championship on Friday night, and Ben Rhodes is the one who's celebrating the 2023 championship.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I love Grant Enfinger. Good friend of the show, as is Ben Rhodes. Both been on. Ben's actually on tonight as well. But, that
Has
shows...
he sobered up? Has he sobered up yet? That'll be the question.
I can
what
confirm.
What Ben Rhodes will you actually have on your podcast?
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, man. Let's talk a little Xfinity. My 2 big takeaways from the Xfinity race are John Hunter Nemechek, dominant year. Obviously, poised for greatness down the road, just unable to, get that, last one when it counts, and got caught up in an incident there at the end. And then Cole Custer, here's somebody that, had, Jeff, you and I a few years ago were talking about the big 3 in the Xfinity series with Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell, and Cole Custer. And we were talking 7 wins, 8 wins, 9 wins. And, they move up. And, Cole, had, I believe, 1 win, maybe 2 wins Cup Series. I know there was the one at Kansas, I think it was. And goes back to the Xfinity Series and has a very rough start to the 2023 Xfinity season. But that team, they pushed and they grinded it out. And come early summer, that team really kicked it into high gear, started winning races, makes the playoffs, and boom, here we are talking a Cole Custer championship, which is a hell of a way to rebound after probably what was depressing news when he found out he was going back to the Xfinity Series in the first place.
How does that differ from John Hunter Nemechek? I mean, he did the same thing, right?
Absolutely.
He was setting the world on fire, had the opportunity to advance, move up. He did. It didn't work out the way that he would have hoped to, and elected to step back and go and hone his craft and become a better driver, which he has been able to do. Cole Custer is doing that very same thing. I look at it this way. We knew going in that did we know for a fact? No, but were we saying we're going to see a very good race in the Xfinity Series, and one that will be done with respect to everyone? And I felt like we had that exactly. And I give credit to everybody. So Sam Mayer loses. Sam Mayer is probably one of the most humbled individuals. I think he felt like when he came into the series that everybody was going to be racing for second. I think he got humbled early on in his career, and he recognizes now just how hard it is to win at this level and the respect that those around you deserve. We talked to him on Thursday, and he was a delight to talk to. We talked to him Saturday after the event on the Motor Racing Network, and I thought he was a delight to talk to. He was grateful for the opportunity to drive for Junior Motorsports. He's been grateful for the year that he's had. He was grateful for the fact that it was a breakout season for him, and that the fact of the matter is he just flat out came up short on Saturday. I really appreciated the way that he approached it and the way he handled the entire race. Justin Allgaier, he's just class. He just defines class. He wanted to win that championship for sure, but at the same time, in talking to Justin, he recognized how important a championship would be, not only for the family, but for Brandt Agricultural that has been with him from the beginning. All the opportunities that Justin has comes from Junior Motorsports and sponsors and people who have hung with him throughout his career. And that was the reason that he wanted to win. He came up short. You look at John Hunter Nemechek, he dominated, if you recall, he dominated the first half of that race. Mm-hmm. There was no doubt early on who was going to win the championship. However, we need to recognize that we started that race under bright sunshine. Track temperature was way up there. The ambient temperature was almost 90 degrees. And then the sun set, cloud cover moved in, track changed, and all of a sudden now you see Cole Custer running better and John Hunter not running as good. And Sam Mayer was there and Allgaier was there. And I don't know if I have not seen a picture. Somebody, I hope, got it off of turn number 2 when they were basically 4 wide for the lead, and it was all 4 championship contenders right there. Sam Mayer, Allgaier, Cole Custer, John Hunter Nemechek. And I thought, man, this is what we race for. Side by side, 4 wide, nobody wrecking anybody. And, obviously that late race restart where John Hunter took a shot. I think he was outside 3 wide going into 1, caught the wall. And ultimately that ended his opportunity to win a championship. I think he finished 28th or whatever it was. It doesn't matter. But Cole Custer out front, a little bit like Ben Rhodes, you're out front when it matters the most. And yep. Cole Custer now is the Xfinity Series champion.
When we look at Cole Custer, we look at Stuart Haas, we look at the year they had in Cup. We look at the last couple of years that they've had in Cup. Obviously, some driver changes coming along in 2024 in the 4 and the 10. You got Josh Berry coming in. We all know the names that are floating around there for the 10 at the moment. What does that championship win do for that team after the struggles that they've had on Sunday, if you will?
We saw Tony Stewart's reaction. Yeah. We saw Gene Haas and his reaction. I think, we take it for granted that, winning at a quote unquote lower level might not mean anything to a team owner, a Roger Penske, a Joe Gibbs, a Tony Stewart. But to see Tony's reaction and knowing that Gene Haas was there, and granted, they were there for different reasons also. They were there to say goodbye to Kevin Harvick. They were there to say goodbye to Eric Almirola, but it's not lost on them that they have a car racing for a championship. And they were there and, watching Tony when Cole crossed the line to take the championship, you could tell it means something. That is the first Xfinity Series championship for that organization. And they acted like it. And I applaud that. So, yeah, there are major changes coming, obviously, for Stuart Haas Racing. And maybe this will go a long way in helping to right the ship that was so strong just a couple of years ago that for whatever reason have backed up. Maybe this is just what they needed to maybe relight the fire and get everything sorted out so that they are a top to bottom organization that is out there competing for wins each and every weekend.
I love it. All right, Jeff, Cup race Sunday. All three races this weekend had some form of on-track incident with playoff champion contenders. Tough break for Christopher Bell. Something tells me that's not going to be his last Final Four appearance, although disappointing, I'm sure, for him. Blaney, Larson, Byron finished 2, 3, 4. That is when you were talking about in the Xfinity Series, we had, all four coming off 2. To have that type of a finish with this talent is something, as well as to have Ross Chastain, first driver to play spoiler, if you will, in terms of race winner and champ winner. Ross obviously not being in the Final Four there. So, how do you unpack Sunday's race, Jeff?
Well, let's go back and talk about Bell and Chastain. I think, you hated it for Bell because that was just a situation that was completely out of his control. Mm-hmm. I don't know that Christopher Bell gets the recognition he deserves for what he is capable of doing behind the wheel. I mean, this kid can drive a race car, and it doesn't matter whether it's a dirt sprint car or a cup car on a Sunday, but this kid's got so much talent. When he needs to win, I don't know how he does it, but when his back is against the wall and he's facing adversity, they just rise. And he was there. He was going to be a contender. There was no doubt about it. And then the brake rotor failure going off the end of the back straightaway into the fence, day over, loaded up. I thought the way that he conducted himself afterwards was classy. Got out of the car. He didn't throw anything, took his helmet off, set it on the roof, and just kind of went, that's it. We gave it our best. And, at the end of the day, we ended up on the trailer and finishing dead last. Obviously, that does not paint the picture of what we saw from Christopher Bell in 2023. And I agree with you. We have not seen the last of Christopher Bell. He will race for a championship again because he just have that much talent. Then you move into the other three. I thought it was interesting because it was just a matter of who could keep up with the racetrack. And I know that sounds crazy, but, William Byron dominated like John Hunter did the day before in the bright sunshine. They were wheeling it, and it was lights out. It looked like this is over. Everybody's going to race for second. But as that long run that you get at Phoenix goes on and on and on, William Byron begins to fade, and others are rising, to the top. And all of a sudden, there's Chastain. He's running fifth. And I remember when he cracked the top five, during one of the commercials, I looked at Alex Hayden. I said, you know what? This is far from over. This is the best car here, hands down. And if we stop there, where did that come from? Because they've shown no consistency at all. They raced for a championship a year ago. They were not anywhere near a championship team in 2023 like they were a year ago. Where did they find the speed that they had for Sunday's race in Phoenix? Because they found it and they took advantage of it. And he's the forgotten man, that's for sure, right? I mean,
absolutely.
Everybody is celebrating a championship, and poor Ross is standing over there going, does anybody want to talk to me? I did win here, but there seems to be no pomp and circumstances around me. Everything is focused on our champion, rightfully so. But yeah, where did Brandon, where did they find that speed? They just put on a clinic on Sunday, no doubt.
It is. It's fun. I remember before this playoff format started in 2014, under the old playoff format, there were multiple times where the race winner wasn't the champ based on the points and all of that. And, you'd kind of get two victory lanes in that situation. And for, almost 10 years, the race winner was the champ as well. We didn't have that issue. So, I feel like they definitely weren't prepared for Ross to get his due for winning a race, like he would have 35 weeks any other week.
And with that, I'm just going to take a little side trip here. When do we stop posting that if it was the old format that so-and-so would have won?
Oh my God.
When do we stop doing that? Because we were trying to figure out, and I think that Kyle Busch, maybe Truex, actually, I think we determined that Kyle Busch has only ever raced in a playoff format. Truex might be one that may have raced before the playoffs. My point is this, everybody who is racing in a truck, maybe the exception would be Matt Crafton when I stop and think about it.
Sure.
But everybody has grown up and raced in the playoff format. All of your drivers at all of the levels have known nothing but a playoff format. So why do we continually go back and say, well, if we'd have been doing this like we did it in 1995, then, this guy would have won. All right. We use the analogies of football, baseball, basketball, and I get that auto racing isn't a stick and ball sport. I got it. I'm clear to that. But, a Super Bowl champion can be a wild card team that 10 years ago wouldn't even have had the opportunity. Yep. I got it. Same thing with, baseball and the wild card teams. If a wild card team wasn't eligible to have played this year, then somebody else would have won it. And if we had used that same format, that team wouldn't even have been eligible to play. Okay, I get it. But you know what? At some point, don't we need to embrace what we actually have today?
Yes, and change is needed. You look at, one of my favorite analogies to use with that is, we've had playoffs in the stick and ball sports for, as long as I've been growing up for 40 years. And I always go back to the very first Patriots loss in the Super Bowl against the Giants, where they would have had that perfect season if they'd have won that game. The Giants were a 500 football team that got in because of a shitty conference, won the wild card game, won the divisional, and now here they are in the Super Bowl, and they beat Tom Brady and the New England Patriots in one of the most dominant teams probably ever. So,
right.
That it's part of history.
You and I have talked about it before. You look at it as though, March Madness is so big for a really good reason. The Duke Blue Devils come rolling into March Madness undefeated, 31-0.
Yeah.
And they go up against, Alabama Birmingham. There's a good example of a team that is, always in March Madness, but they come in as a 13, 14, 15, 16 seed. They have the right to wipe out that number one school right there. And if they do it, guess what? They advance, and that team that you thought was going to just parade right through and take the championship, they're done.
Yep.
We saw Harvick do that, 2 years ago when he won, 8 races and couldn't make it through. I don't know if it was a round of 12 or whatever. But
he didn't even he did not get out of the round of 8. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's going to happen. And the crazy thing is, while the fans some of the fans want to keep going back to, well, if we'd have done it this way, this would be the result. All of your drivers, all of your competitors, they've never even experienced it. They know what they have going in.
Yep.
They know that you've got to peak at the right time. You work hard all year long to get that opportunity to make the playoffs. And then you recognized right there, we're only going to be in this thing as long as we can run at the highest level. If we fade, if we fail, we're done.
Yeah. It forces the competition, which is awesome. It forces you to want to watch. It forces there to be a champion. Yeah, great. All right. So-and-so maybe would have had the points locked up, 3 races ago. Well, great. All right. What a bore to go and watch, the last 3 races. Why would anybody want to do that? Why show up when we already know the outcome? No, I want this race to mean something,
And you look at it too with the championship 4 that headed to Phoenix for the Cup Series. If you don't think that was the best of the best going head to head, you had Joe Gibbs, Rick Hendrick, and Roger Penske. Those were your 3 organizations that were there. They are absolutely the best in motorsports. You could argue that they're as good as any organization in the world. You can't really compare NASCAR to Formula One, and you can't compare them to Indy, but you want your best to be there to represent your sport. And we had Bell, Byron, Blaney, Larson, Joe Gibbs, Rick Hendrick, Roger Penske. I just don't know if you can ask for anything more than that. And then you put them on the racetrack, and other than Bell going out early, I think it was lap 108, you had the 3 remaining drivers running at 110% every single lap and running behind one another going, I have to pass one car to win a championship, but I can't do it.
Yep.
So I don't know. I thought it was great. Ryan Blaney is going to be a great champion. He is so well respected. I don't know that he has a fan that cheers against him. I'm sure there is, but when you look at some of the other drivers, I mean, I don't think I'm going to shock anybody when I say if Denny Hamlin is in there, you actually have people that are going to cheer against him winning.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt. I mean, right now, Denny is either loved or hated, and he doesn't mind it.
Nope.
But you're going to have people up there going, pass him, wreck him, do whatever you got to do, just make sure Denny doesn't win. I don't know that you have that with Ryan Blaney. You either love him or you like him.
Sure. Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, so I think we have a great champion, obviously, for Team Penske. They go back-to-back. Joey wins it last year. Ryan wins it this year. That just goes to show you that, they are a high-performing organization. They understand the format. They understand what it takes to be champions, as does Hendrick and everybody. But you know what? If you can't perform at the highest level on the day that is going to decide the champion, again, whether we're talking baseball, football, NHRA does the same thing. If you can't perform on that opportunity on the grand stage, you're not going to win a championship. And for Byron and Larson, and obviously Christopher Bell until he broke, and Ryan Blaney, I thought they did exactly that. They all brought their A game. They put on a whale of a race. And in the end, Ryan Blaney was in position that he needed to be in to win the championship, and I think he'll be a great champion.
Absolutely. No doubt about that. A couple more for you, Jeff.
Sure.
Kevin Harvick, did you get a chance to talk with him at all during, any of the media availabilities or, just at all over the weekend? He had quite the emotional send-off. The post-race, hanging out at the car for an hour and 4 minutes, it was reported, taking pictures, having some beers, and just soaking it in for one last time. What do you make of Kevin Harvick's final race there?
Well, our first ballot Hall of Famer that we all hate to see move on has moved on, and I thought, there was a time there during maybe that June, July, August, September run. I guess I'm not going to say June, but let's go to, August, September. It looked like he was ready. If somebody would have said, hey, they canceled the second half of the season, I don't know that he would have said anything other than, okay, great, I guess I'm done. I think it was becoming time in his head. I can't speak for him. This is my opinion and my opinion only, where, it's like, let's just wrap this up. We're not performing at the level I want to perform at. And then there was a couple of races there towards the end of the season. I think it was Homestead, where he was running at the front of the field. Obviously, I knew he would be a factor at Phoenix, a 9-time winner. He's always run well there.
Yep.
I didn't realize this till I went back and looked at stats, but as far as top 10 consecutive finishes, he had 20 in a row going into that event. That is most all time at any track ever.
That's crazy.
So he's going to be a factor. And I'll tell you what, Brandon, I thought, right now he is the fastest guy in qualifying. Even if he can't win it, how cool would it be if Harvick is the driver that leads the field to the green flag in his last race?
Yep.
You know, I wanted him to win at Martinsville. I wanted him to win at Homestead. I would have been happy if he would have won at Phoenix. I wanted him to take that one last opportunity to take the team, his family, his sponsors to victory lane, like Jeff Gordon had the opportunity to do several years ago at Martinsville. I wanted that for Kevin. And he put himself out there when he took the lead. And I don't know if you could tell, we talked about it on the radio, but when he took the lead, that place erupted.
Yes.
And I thought that was really cool. The other thing I thought was pretty cool was the way the fans treated him. You climb in the back of the pickup truck, you come around, you know how that works after you've been introduced. And you could tell where Kevin was on the racetrack because it looked like the wave.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
He was being recognized, and I was happy for it. A driver we're going to miss on the track, a driver that will move to the TV booth. But and then to see what he did, I think what it was finally the emotion got to him. I think he did the best he could to keep the emotion bottled up until it was all over.
Yep.
And once he did those interviews and got everybody out of the way, it was like, my friends, my team, my family, come on in here. Let's crack a beer. Let's just spend some time together. Obviously, the emotions took over at that point. Showed, you know, that he's a human being and that this sport has meant a lot to him. And it showed for that 1 hour and 4 minutes that he spent before he finally said, it's time to go.
Yep. No, I love it, man. That's a great way to sum that up for sure. All right, Jeff, let's turn things over for a minute over to Berlin. How did things wrap up for you guys over there this season?
I think it was the best season we've had in a couple of decades. I mean, our attendance is up dramatically. I think what we're doing here is, you know, putting Berlin back in the spotlight when it comes to short tracks around the country. There are several great short tracks that we have coast to coast, and, you know, all we want to do is be in that same conversation. And I feel like we're moving in that direction. I couldn't be happier about the actual turnout from competitors and fans. You know, whether we're running super modifieds and those guys have got to come off the East Coast. If they don't make it here, I'll get a phone call from somebody saying, we want to be here, but here's why we can't. I mean, how many times do short track operators get a phone call from somebody saying, we can't make it this time, but we're going to be there next time. We hear about it. We know you're there. We want to be there, but, you know, maybe we blew an engine, you know, last weekend and we're just not going to be able to get the car turned around in time. I actually take a lot of pride in that I will hear from a competitor that says, we want to be there, but man, we just can't. So, you know, we're going to build on what we had this year, which I think has just been I'm not going to call it an A+ because there's always room for improvement, but, you know, we had an A season and we're working hard on that. We've got our schedules. We're starting to make some releases right now. We do not have our schedule complete for next year for a couple of different reasons. But, I can tell you that, Super Modified release is going out tonight. So we'll have a big 2-day show here like we've had the last couple of years. Money in the Bank, Battle at Berlin, Super Late Model shows will be back. Sprinters will be here. Modifieds will be here. So a lot of work, long answer, but a lot of work going in right now behind the scenes. All of that will become public here very shortly. And we got our heads down and we're not taking 2023 lightly. We know what work went in to make it a good year. And we're doing that exact same thing right now to make sure that 2024 is even better.
Awesome. I love it. Jeff, once you get back from Key West, any plans, holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, going anywhere, staying in? What are you doing?
I'm almost embarrassed to say, but we actually have a few vacations lined up.
Hey,
so
don't be, man.
I know.
35 weeks a year, man. You can't, you don't. A lot of sacrifice goes into doing what you do, man. So go live it up.
I get back from traveling, and guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to travel. So
yeah, but you have your wife with you, though, so that's okay.
It makes it a whole lot better. That is for sure.
Yes.
So yeah, we're going to do some traveling.
Awesome.
We're going to go down to the Bahamas at some point. We're going to cruise at some point.
Okay.
And we'll kick things off down in the Keys here in another week. So, and you know what? Once that's done, and that's the part I really enjoy, Brandon, and you and I, we've talked off the record on this, is that you do that and automatically you're right back in it, because it won't be long after that. And LA.
Yeah.
We'll be dead ahead, and we'll head out and go do with the Motor Racing Network. We'll go out there and, go to the Coliseum and get things started out there with a Clash. Daytona is 2 weeks after that. So, downtime will go by, off-season downtime will be by probably in a blink of an eye, unfortunately.
Absolutely.
But
yeah,
that's just how it goes.
It seems to go quicker as you get older. That's definitely for sure. And your 30th appearance is right around the corner. So
yeah. And there'll be a lot to talk about, won't there? Because I think what we go into, just to kind of tip my hand on this, I think what we go into is the great unknown, meaning that you look at a track house, you look at legacy and what they have lying ahead. Trackhouse, without any debate, had a down year compared to what they did the year before. Do they rebound? Where is Trackhouse right now? I absolutely love that organization, by the way.
Yeah,
they just, man, do they do things right. And they're innovators. And that's the one thing I like about them. Not that you need me to go down a rabbit hole, but I like innovators in our sport, and Trackhouse is an innovator. They lead the way in a lot of different things that you see when you get to the track, and how they work with their sponsors and their presence when they're at the track. I think you're going to see a lot of teams in the off season try to emulate what they've been doing. That is only going to help. But I guess long story short here, Brandon, is I do think that as we get ready for 2024, with some of the changes that we're seeing and some of the organizations like SHR, are they going to rebound? I don't know. But, I guess I'd have to hedge my bet and say, yeah, they're going to be better than what they were in 2023. But they're going to have to do it without Kevin Harvick.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to do it with new drivers now. What's Legacy going to do now that they're going to, change out manufacturers? What's Trackhouse going to do to rebound? Where is 2020 or where is 2311 going to be next year? That is a team that's just red hot. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised to see a Bubba Wallace or a Tyler Reddick reel off 5 wins. I really wouldn't. They were very, very close to doing that this year. So, I guess just to wrap it up, I think next year, as it sets up here in the month of November, has the makings of being very, very good across all 3 divisions, the trucks, Xfinity, the Cup Series, and it won't be long we'll be talking about it.
Absolutely. I love it. Great way to end it. Brother, thank you so much for coming on to the show tonight. I appreciate you as always. Go have some fun down in the sun, and look forward to talking to you very soon, sir.
You got it, buddy.
Thanks,
Always
man.
a pleasure.
Appreciate
Take care.
you.
Hey, happy holidays if I don't talk to you before.
Thank you so much, man. All right, we'll see ya.
Take care.
All right, Lap Traffic Nation. Great talking to Jeff Striegle. Of course, as always, hell, we've done it 29 times. Can't wait for number 30 with him. Okay. Let's do a little Lap Traffic social media. Then we'll get to some of your guys' takes here. Make sure you check out the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, Facebook, The Lap Traffic Podcast, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, all at Lap Traffic PC. I did make a TikTok post the other day. I mean, I was laughing hysterically. I thought it was pretty funny. It was in reference to Sheldon Creed, and I got some decent views for only having a very few handful of followers there. So we might have to work on that for season 8, building a following over there and encouraging me to make a fool of myself in some capacity sometimes. So there's that. Huge congratulations to Chad at Chad Illa Ranch for winning the Lap Traffic Prize Pack, the big year-end season giveaway. Oh, that is all packaged up and ready to go out to Chad. Congratulations. Thank you to everybody for retweeting and getting that out there. That reached a lot of people, which was awesome. So thank you so much for that. Stickers and koozies, I'll still have them throughout the off season. If anybody wants them, feel free to reach out and I will send them to you for free. Okay, so I had reached out to you guys and said, what's your takeaway from 2023 that will impact 2024 in some capacity? So here's what some of you guys had to say. April at SWT Harvick Fan 4. There's going to be a huge void without Harvick on the track. The only bright side to his hanging his gloves up is that we get an awesome analyst in the Fox booth. I feel his perspective will be very refreshing. Hashtag forever. I love it. Colin at Colin_with_cars. RFK and Ryan Blaney for Penske show that Fords are capable of performing well. I expect next year we don't see them struggle in the first half like they did this year. Jess at Iowa NASCAR fan. What's up, Jess? Haven't heard from you in a minute. Ford has won the last 2 titles when they've been probably the third best manufacturer, but the one strength of the car has been short tracks, Phoenix included. Does the new 2024 design take away from the short track dominance in short hurt their chances at titles? I love that. Scott at 1985. I think Kevin Harvick and Eric Almirola stepping away leaves only a couple of old guard drivers. Third season for new car will give us a good view on which teams will be contenders yearly. The car change shows how difficult the switch was. Look at CE, great at road courses in old and not a contender now. Yep, I agree with you there. Andrew at Racing Cants. Denny Hamlin is still championship-less. I love it. And next gen still sucks everywhere except intermediates. Yes, Brandon, I'm a Crouch. Tristan at Tristan Cole. Chevy dominated most of the season in their next gen car, but while their design, Ford and Toyota have new designs, hold Chevy back. Carolina at Farm Life of 5. For one, keeping my picks to myself. Better yet, not picking anyone. 2023, it was fun to watch. We had different makes and drivers win, and Xfinity knocked it out of the park. Fun to watch. I agree there. Jay at J Stone Pemech. All the talk about improving the short tracks, but no one wants to discuss how high-speed intermediates are starting to slowly become kin to the 550 package racing. Roller Monkey's Mom at Roller Monkey Mom. Schedule changes, drivers respecting each other and lack thereof. Larry at Speed Pro 1963. 2 teams, RFK and 2311, put both cars in the top 10 in drivers' points. JD at JD_Kunigan. The improvement in racing in the season's last 2 short tracks, Martinsville and Phoenix. Yeah, if we could just get that short track program dialed in, eh? I tell you. And then last but not least, Big B at B_Putman. My takeaway is it's past time for NASCAR to get rid of the playoffs. Big B, Brandon, my man, you're probably going to throw some shade my way on this one, especially because Jeff and I talked about it earlier today. And that is, here's the thing. I can appreciate the nostalgia aspect of that. But I guess I would throw back to you the question of where's the fun after tuning in for X number of races in knowing that a champion could be decided 3 races to go in a season, give or take, right? Could be more, could be less. But realistically, we go old school points format, so why is there any desire for a race fan to show up at Phoenix if the championship's decided at Martinsville or the race prior to that, and from that regard, it takes away knowing that, okay, yeah, sure, there's the win. Great. But championship's what you want. And I like Jeff said too, we're not sticking ball, but we have a playoff format to create entertainment and great racing and the need to be perfect for, almost a third of our season, right? Like, 30 13 and 13, 26 races, for the regular season, so we're talking almost a third to go out there and to have to be perfect almost week in and week out to go and win that championship. So, I mean, man, like I said, I get it, but I'm okay with the fact that we have a playoff format there. So thank you, everyone, for sending in your takes there. I appreciate it. And I think it's time to wrap this bad boy up here. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, let's close this thing out with a little Lap Traffic Fantasy recap, the last fantasy segment of the season. So there's no need to get your picks in by 5 o'clock Eastern Standard on Thursday because we're all done with that. And joining me on the line is our 2023 Season 7 of the Lap Traffic Fantasy podcast, and it is Mr. Andrew Yu. What's up, man? How are you?
Not bad. How about you? We had a good Phoenix weekend.
Absolutely. Yes, sir, man. It was some great picking by you. Congratulations on the championship. The trophies are ordered. Hopefully I will have them by next week and get everything sent out for everybody here. Hopefully everybody gets all their prizes before Thanksgiving is my goal. So we'll get that out to you. But, man, what a dominating year you had in terms of winning Segment 1, Segment 2, and the playoffs. I'm going to open it up to you because there has, in 7 years now, we have not had a repeating champion. So you could very well be our first repeater if you have this same dominance next year in the league. So definitely looking forward to you defending your championship next year. Are you ready?
Yeah, I think I can definitely repeat next year.
Excellent.
If not, having a good, strong playoff run next year. And I'm glad to be competing among, I want to say we had 24 down to 12, down to 4. And I mean, those 12 to 4 and even 24 people were really competitive. So hopefully they, continue to keep playing next year and, further years on. And hopefully they also continue to be strong because, I would say I build off of their intensity and their picks and how strong they are.
Yeah, no. So the league started. Initially, there was just about 100 players to start off Segment 1. And with every year I've done this, by the end of Segment 2, there's definitely not 100 picks coming in each week, but and then the playoffs. But so here's how the final four shaped out. Andrew, you had 109 points. Joe Hewson came in second with 86. Steven, DFS NASCAR guy, in third with 71. And I'm just tickled to death that I made the Final Four for the first time in my own fantasy league. A very depressing showing with 51 points when Carson Hocevar got me 8 points on Friday night. I knew I was in for a rough start, and it didn't get any better with John Hunter Nemechek's 9 points on Saturday. So I knew I was dead in the water once that happened. But like I said, I was just glad to make it there. Andrew, any format changes you'd like to see next year? We always make a few rule changes. So what in your perfect world, what could we change?
I don't know, really, actually. I thought this year's game was pretty fair. Although, actually, maybe in Xfinity, we did have the John Hunter Nemechek show for about the last, the playoff run. So
yeah, we did.
Well, something like that should be a little bit outlawed a little bit to 2 picks again. But, yeah, I mean, hey, if the people said they didn't want that, then, yeah, I mean, I would say the game's pretty fair to everyone. And, it's the people's game, I would say.
It is the people's game, yes. I am here for the people and to help provide some fun throughout the season. I'll tell you, off the top, I will probably say Xfinity and Truck will not have 2-pick options. It'll probably be down to 1-pick options to make it a little bit more competitive across the Xfinity and Truck Series. You mentioned the John Hunter Nemechek. We had the Kyle Larson rule a couple years ago where he had, missed the playoffs and, just went on a tear. So everyone did basically what happened with John Hunter this year was Kyle Larson. So, that won't be the case next year. And we'll go from there. But, well, listen, man, I just wanted to have you on for a quick minute to say congratulations on the show. Like I said, it was a dominating performance all year. To have that kind of consistency is not an easy thing to do. But congratulations, and we'll get that trophy out to you here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, thank you so much again for hosting this competition and whatnot. And I just want to give out a shout out to, my race. I'm in a college right here, and so I want to give a shout out to the 49ers racing and some of the alumni and current students there. We actually work on some of the teams, so give a shout out to them. And I was, was rooting for GMS and Grant and Finger on the trucks.
Absolutely, yes.
And they came up short, unfortunately, but yeah. Still, also congrats to, Cole Custer and them. I know a few guys who work on, the 4 teams on that 4 team and as well in general on Ford. So, congrats to them. And Ford just knocked it out of the park. Just winning.
Yeah, no, they absolutely knocked it out of the park. No doubt about that. No.
Even with Blaney, that was a battle with him and Kyle Larson.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Well, hang on the line just 1 minute and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Okay.
Thanks. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, that is a wrap for episode 325 of the Lap Traffic Podcast. Make sure you check out the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, Facebook, The Lap Traffic Podcast, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, all at Lap Traffic PC. Huge thanks to Ben Rhodes, Jeff Striegle, and Andrew Yu for calling into the show. We'll see if we put something together next week or the week after with a listener call-in show. If anybody wants to be a part of it, reach out, let me know. Don't get caught chasing the lucky dog. Tune in each and every week to the Lap Traffic Podcast. See ya.